Live from America's heartland, this is the Daily Truth Report with your host, Noah Christopher.
Welcome to the Daily Truth Report. I'm Noah, and joining us back on the show today is Bo Polney. Bo, welcome back. It's great to have you. Thanks for taking time to be with us.
Pleasure being here. Thank you, Noah, for inviting me back. I love speaking with you last time and excited to do it again today. So thank you for having me back.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So, Bo, you were on the show about 3 weeks ago. That was before the election. These videos get uploaded and then shared around. So I want to say at the very beginning, this is November 5th. We are 2 days after the election. As of right now, the election is still not called. There is still no outcome. Joe Biden is trending towards 270. It's looking like he's on his path to at least initially being declared the victor at 270. But we are 2 days out, and the country is in a state of chaos. And I wanted to have you back on. I've had a lot of people emailing and asking about what Bo thinks, and can you get him back on? And I emailed you, and you shot right back, and you said, let's do it. So, you know, Bo, what I have found so interesting in all of this is there have been a lot of people that have been very public with their predictions and their statements before the election. You, Lois Vogel Sharp, Mark Taylor, Charlie Shamp, there's been a whole litany of them. And what I am seeing across the board, and I think I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to turn it over to you in a minute, but what I am seeing across the board is no one is backing down from what they saw and what they said. Everyone believes Trump is going to win. Everyone believes Trump has won. And I want to know, is that how you're seeing it right now?
I can start simply by saying this: no evil can overcome God's will. God wrote the story thousands of years ago, and we are living it right now. Trump is a piece of God's puzzle, and Trump was ordained, is anointed, is positioned to be a historical figure, and his main job is he's sounding like, for a simple reason, his name is Trump. He is sounding the trumpet for the second coming of Christ. Okay, so God's returning. Trump is a piece of the puzzle for his return. Now, if you've listened and you've seen my prior videos, prior interviews, and if you go to my website, there's 3 or 4 PDFs there that clearly outline, and it starts with what's called the Trump cycle. Now, we're not in Daniel's timeline at this point in time. However, cycles replay themselves throughout life. So Trump is exactly replaying or playing Daniel's timeline, which is a 1,260-day cycle from his election to April 21st of this past year. And that was exact time point that we've talked about earlier, but that's when oil went incredibly to zero, or negative actually. A month before that, the stock market crashed 38%. So that is a critical cycle. Now, the Daniel cycle has 2 layers to it. It's a 7-year cycle. So that was into April, was only 3.5 years. We're into now getting into 4 years of the cycle. However, the point being is we are nowhere near the completion of that cycle. Trump has an entire second cycle yet. So therefore, he has another term. And so again, to what I said earlier, no evil can overcome God's will. What is evil trying to do? Well, what is evil? Kill, steal, destroy, right? Cheat. So what are they doing? Anything and everything that they can do to usher in their agenda by stealing and cheating. And that's what's going on at this exact moment in time, is you're seeing stealing and cheating going on to try to steal what is not theirs. Okay, this next 4 years is not theirs, and they're trying to steal it and change God's plan. That's not going to happen. So I don't care even if Biden declares victory. you ain't seen what God can do. That's just like when, when Moses or when Noah gets, right up to to the Red Sea, and he's got a fire on, he's got an army coming at him on one side. He's got the Red Sea on the other side. He's got no options.
Mm-hmm.
But what does the Bible clearly say? That which is impossible to man is possible with God. Okay, what is that? That's Luke 18:27. States clearly that which is impossible becomes possible. So I don't care what happens. It doesn't matter in the near term, in the next few days, week or two, whatever. I don't care, because in the end, Trump wins. Trump has another 4 years, because that is God's will. And that's exactly how it's going to go down, regardless of timing, because the timing of when he announces victory is in God's perfect timing. So there's an exact time point when that's going to happen. And when that exact time point happens, expect absolute pandemonium and chaos to break out in this world. And I expect that to possibly happen this month, because the charts are pointing to extreme chaos going down beginning in November here. So do expect some extreme market volatility hitting here this month. And that's probably tied in directly to Trump possibly declaring victory this month. I've listened to one or two prophets. One said, which makes sense, that potentially he declares victory 7 days later. And again, Trump is running Daniel's cycle, which is a 7-year cycle. So 7 days doesn't sound crazy. In fact, that sounds right on. So that potentially could be this coming Tuesday. It could be 14 days. So maybe 2 weeks, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you that Trump declares victory and chaos immediately follows, because the evil side they can't afford to lose, because if they lose, it's a cobweb of interconnected high-end executives and people and countries that are all tied in together that get exposed. So this is a fight to the death. And that's right. Why one of the prophets actually labeled this as the clash of the titans, because this is an absolute battle to the death. And that's what we're watching right now.
And we've already seen those webs start to be exposed. I don't think we've even seen a fraction of it yet, Bo, but we've seen some of the webs, haven't we? We've seen the Biden crime family. We've seen the ties to China and to Ukraine.
Well, and think about what, so if I can pause you for a minute. And so think about China, right? China specifically is the dragon. Okay, well, how did Satan come onto the earth through Adam and Eve? Through a snake.
That's
okay.
Right.
So the point is that why do you think China is the dragon? Okay. China has immense money. They have been funding the evil, the deception. Okay. So and now you're seeing it, like you just said, you're seeing it through what was just exposed through all the, through the laptop of death, basically, to this empire, right? But it was just exposed. Now they're hiding it, but it's like you have a dam, right? And you have like on one water leak springs open, and another, and it's like that cartoon, right? And you start sticking all your fingers into the dam, right? All of a sudden you run out of fingers.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen, and that's called the miracle. Okay, so God's going to bring upon the earth a miracle. He's going to move his hand. When God moves his hand, he's the creator of all things. He just has to, take a sneeze and incredible things happen. So God's about to move. He's about to, he's considered like a chess game. He's got him in check right now and about to put him in checkmate. And so, and when all of this gets exposed, you're going to see this money supply out of China get cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get the money supply cut off, then going into next year, you're going to see truths like you've never seen it before get exposed, because if you're not getting paid anymore to lie, why do you keep lying? You see, the only reason that people have been lying and perpetuating the evil is because of money. And so you remove the money, and all of a sudden, the game's over. So it's always been about the money, and that's why people have said follow the money, right? When you follow the money, you find out who controls the game. Well, when you follow the money, the game's been controlled out of China, and so if China goes down, which is going to happen because God's going to intervene, when China goes down, the money supply shuts off. When the money supply shuts off, you're going to see people, kingdoms, or not, you're going to countries, and top people in the countries get exposed and go down. So fasten your seatbelts.
And Bo, we saw it election night. I was watching. The Chinese yuan tanked when it looked like Trump was winning. Remember, we all went to bed on election night, and Trump had the lead in several key states, and it looked like he was going to win until we had all these mysterious ballots showing up at 4 and 5 a.m. But when it looked like he was going to win, that China's currency went through the floor.
Well, interesting. I wasn't watching that, but I was interviewing that night with Greg Hunter. And what I did was I had the dollar chart up, gold and silver's chart up. And so I was watching the dollar very closely. And if you've watched my videos in the past, I had that one video I think I put up about 3 weeks ago, or beginning of October, or in the middle of October, and it was titled "The Fall of the World Reserve Currency." Mm-hmm. So, so in that video, I showed what's a pattern. It's called a head and shoulders pattern. Mm-hmm. And so we're at the apex and the pinnacle of that pattern right now, which was given a few weeks ago. And then right now, it basically is battling. And so on the night the night of the election, the dollar hit the last point and it shot back up. So the dollar came back up, and on that day, the silver went down a whole dollar, and I think gold was down about $30 during the election. And then by the end of the election, it balanced up, but the dollar had come up a little bit, and the gold was still down with silver into the next day. So really exciting, but that's like a pinnacle point. And so right after the election, look at today, what happened was the dollar broke support, okay? And so people are saying, hey, the dollar's breaking down, it's falling down. Yeah, but we told you that. That was in the cycle way back from October, it's the beginning of October when I interviewed with Greg Hunter, saying that this dollar has a down cycle, it's a Jubilee cycle, and the dollar's going down into next year. So finally the dollar drops today, and everybody's like, wow, hey, the dollar went down. Yeah, but that was forecast back on the 3rd or 3rd of October, because the cycle basically was a collapsing cycle for the month of November, and we're starting November. The dollar's beginning to break down. The world reserve currency is beginning to break down. And what's happening to gold and silver? Silver went up $1.50 today, and gold went up nearly $50. Okay, so as the dollar breaks down, gold and silver shoot vertical, and more importantly, or not even more importantly, but equally important, is Bitcoin shot up to $15,000. And people are like, wow, Bitcoin hit $15,000. Yeah, but we have that target way back in September. And we knew it was going to hit 15,000, and boom, we got 15,000 today. So the charts have been playing out absolutely. Actually, it's kind of crazy that they've been playing out so well, and we're seeing everything pattern out perfectly. And so right now, it ain't stopping yet. Okay. So 15's not like, oh, no, it's going higher yet. And so is gold, and so is silver. Okay. So a lot of excitement is coming. Why? Because everything that's been held down has been held down with what? The world reserve currency, which is now dropping and has a down cycle into next year. And there's key time points for those. We've got them, okay? But those key time points are what's going to cause God's money, gold and silver, to have an awesome, great 2020 finish to it, and an incredible 2021.
Our guest today is Bo Polney, founder of Gold 2020 Forecast. You can go visit Bo's website at gold2020forecast.com. Bo, just a quick recap here, because you are throwing a lot at us, and that's why I love having you on. You are saying we are in the middle of a 7-year Trump cycle. Trump has a 7-year cycle to play out. We are only coming up on year 4 of that cycle. When you were on the show 3 weeks ago, you said that cycle runs all the way to 2023. That has not changed. You're standing behind it. The other prophets are standing behind what they say. This ain't over yet.
Well, exactly. And then on top of that, now, remember, there's cycles upon cycles. Now, the other cycle that I've laid out, and you've seen as well in my PDF presentations from my webpage, you've seen the Noah's Ark cycle. Remember that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Noah cycle was the one that actually forecast and predicted Ruth Bader Ginsburg's. It predicted a date, and that
September 18th.
Right. That just happened to be the death of RBG. And then so it's interesting how that exactly played out. But that was a Noah cycle. That Noah cycle also predicted the 31st of May. And that Noah cycle was and these are biblical time points that I'm using. So these are God's time points that he's, shown, I through the Holy Spirit. Yes, God has illustrated to me how these patterns play out. And so I've overlaid these time cycles onto God's money, gold, and silver, and the markets, and it's incredible how it's playing out. But the point is, so that May 31st time point was a critical time point, and that was the exact time point where the riots started. Okay, so the riot started on May 31st. The date then of September 18th happened to be an exact biblical time point again, and that was RBG's, and it ended up being RBG's death. And now that Noah cycle that I described and started in April of this year, okay, that Noah cycle doesn't end until April of 2021, this coming year. My point being is Noah's still on the ark. We're watching chaos because the new era, God's kingdom is not here yet, okay? So Christ is coming is not next year, okay? He's still coming years out. My point is, but before Christ returns, God sets up his kingdom for the return. And so he's setting up his kingdom, but his kingdom hasn't technically begun yet because that doesn't happen until at least the end of April of this coming year. Now, so for that kingdom to begin, you've got to have a wiping out, an obliteration of the evil that we're seeing right now. So between now and into April of end of April, expect what were these the politicians, the government officials, these high-end people, the countries. They're either gonna mysteriously die. They're going to retire. They're going to resign. They're going to be indicted. All that and all of the above and things that I may have missed, but all of those things come to be before the kingdom begins at the beginning of April of next year. So, the end of April, beginning of May 2021. So expect excitement because excitement's coming. We're just in the early stages still, and more things are coming. And for all these things to happen, Trump will be in office to perpetuate and make everything correct per God's will. So this is all about God's will because God is in charge. And, everything I'm talking about, things that have been shown to me. I don't want the glory because all glory always goes to God. But the point being is, I'm here and I'm speaking to you clearly just to give you a clear message as to what's coming upon the earth. And I don't know that this past, since I've been doing these, since we've talked in the past, since these interviews of this year and the patterns that I've laid out, you got to admit everything's playing out exactly as it's supposed to be.
It's been incredible, oftentimes to the exact day. We've talked about that here. If you missed Bo on our show last time, go back and go look for it. It was 3 weeks ago. I want to say it was October 8th. We went into great detail about Bo and his prediction about April 20th of 2020, September 18th of 2020. And Bo, now you're saying the next key time on the prophetic timeline on the Noah cycle is April of 2021. Bo, is there a date? Is there a specific
26th,
date?
April 26th.
Okay, you heard it here. This is April 26th of 2021. That's the next one we're looking at. And Bo, you have not been wrong on any of them before.
I don't know what's, and again, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm giving you a calculated date out of the Bible, overlaying it on present time. What happens? I don't know, but I will speculate with the best of my
Please.
knowledge that like I described, in order for God to bring on his new kingdom, right? Because what did that time point describe? That's on the 26th of, would equate to the 26th of April of this coming year, 21, right? That would be the time point that Noah steps off the ark into the new world.
And when he steps off the ark, it is a new world. It is
Right.
not the same as it was when he got on.
That's correct. Okay. So that's my point. Okay. So please understand. Okay. As much as you might think something, it might be a little change. No, there's going to be immense changes that you cannot comprehend because God's involved. Okay. When God's involved and he moves moving his hand, the changes are going to be things that we cannot comprehend, but will be truly epic. And all of these time points so far have been epic. So I'm just telling you, so the next time point, the 26th of April, is another incredibly epic time point because after that, we're supposed to, based on my understanding, stepping into the new era.
Bo, you put up a video on your page, on your YouTube channel. It was all about Black Friday. It was about a minute long. And I don't think you were talking about the day after Thanksgiving. You're talking about a Black Friday coming. You talked about it a little bit earlier, but I want to go back to that because I don't want people to miss this. This is the day that you're anticipating either Trump declares he's won or he is declared the winner, or maybe we have a court case or something and all chaos breaks loose after that happens. Is that what you're looking at coming next?
Again, see, so I don't know. I can't answer that question because when you do cycle analysis, as what am I? I'm an analyst of time. I analyze time charts basically and do future time points and calculations. So I don't know events. That's like with oil going to zero, Ruth Ginsburg dying on those dates. See, I don't know those events, so I don't know what's going to happen here. However, how I'm coming up with those two time points. So there's a potential of 2 Black Fridays this month of November.
November 13th.
Yes, and then the 28th. If you look at the video. So there's 2 days, November 13th.
27th, Bo.
27th. Okay, 27th.
Yep.
So the two Fridays 2 weeks apart.
Yep.
So one is the middle of, and the other one is right after Thanksgiving.
Yep.
The Friday. So both of those time points, when I look at the chart patterns and I do my cycle counts, the day counts, there's a high probability that we see market events going on specifically on those two, maybe one date or possibly both dates. I'm thinking possibly both dates. So we'll see. But the point being is that we need that extreme market volatility, which I believe is coming, because that market volatility is then going to be the fuel for gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies to skyrocket them even higher vertical. So in a nutshell, those 2 dates we're expected to see extreme market volatility. And so hopefully on or right after those time points, we'll see how, basically the charts are pointing to, like I've been saying in my prior videos as well too, that after Thanksgiving, as crazy as it might go into Thanksgiving, it gets worse after Thanksgiving.
Crazy in terms of the stock market or
Everything.
Chaos in the streets?
Well, remember, because when the stock market or in gold and silver, when cryptos, when everything's like shooting up or dropping down, right? There's obviously a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So cycles precede events. So the cycle says extreme volatility. What events are coming? Well, we're going to find out.
Mm-hmm. Bo, so far, cryptocurrencies have been fairly correlated to the stock market. If the stock market's going up, crypto is going up. Stock market's going down, Bitcoin's down. Do you see a decoupling of that at some point? Because I'm hearing you say the stock market's heading down and cryptocurrencies are heading up.
Well, yes. As more time goes by, you're going to see more decoupling of cryptocurrencies, gold and silver from the stock market. So it'll be apparent later, a little bit later this year yet. You'll start seeing that. And then next year, you see even much more of it. So next year, you're going to see the markets and the dollar plunging or dropping sharp, and gold and silver exploding with cryptocurrencies opposite. So you're going to have a decoupling as time goes on. So it starts off, it's starting now, or by the end of the year, you'll see it. And then we're going to see much more of it next year. And go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. You told us last time when you were on 3 weeks ago that start to watch, it's going to be a good November for cryptocurrencies, and it's going to get, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think you said it's going to get better after that. And Bo, as we're talking right now, this is November 5th, and Bitcoin is on a march to its all-time high. It is over 15,500, and it's just a perfect timing to be talking to you today because everything is looking green out there in cryptocurrency world.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny because last week when Bitcoin was, I think it was like 12 or 13, I said it's going to be 1550 before the end of this week. In my report, I was like, wow, that was so that it happened, you know. So yeah, so if you read my report, so we had this target, and it was supposed to actually come by tomorrow, and it came a day early, so pretty good.
If you're a trader, Bo runs a service where he will give you all of his detailed thoughts and targets for short-term trading, gold2020forecast.com. But the thing I love about you, Bo, is you'll go on shows like this and you'll give the big picture away for free. You don't want people signing up for that unless they are a trader. This is for traders only. You're here talking to us today about what you see coming forward. Is that right?
I've always done that. You know, the point is that if people want to profit and benefit from having, you know, important dates and time points and knowing what cryptos to be buying, also for gold and silver, like if you want to be benefiting from these time points, okay, then you can subscribe to our service, okay? But if you're just preparing your family and yourself for what's coming in the future, you need to be buying precious metals, but you know, whatever your heart feels. Again, I don't want to say you need to be buying, but you should. If your heart tells you that you should be doing that, then pick up some precious metals. If you're picking up precious metals, you might definitely want to consider silver because that's the one that's going to outperform gold. If cryptocurrencies, same thing. You know, if you feel you want to buy them, then buy them. So yes, if you are looking to protect yourself and your family's financial future, then just get in on the game, buy precious metals, buy cryptocurrencies, and get involved. Okay. Now, if you want to trade it, you benefit on knowing some cycle highs and some lows to increase your position size, maybe lighten up and then buy back on a dip. Yes, then that would be for traders, and those are people who know what they're doing. So you can go to our website, Gold 2020 Forecast. And on that website, there's, the Bitcoin index, there's gold turn dates. You can get either one of those. And both of those will give you our cycle charts for what's coming and what's expected here. So if you're a trader, subscribe to our service if you're interested. Otherwise, if you just want to position yourself and your family, get involved in owning precious metals. Hopefully you've done that already. Okay. I've been shouting from the rooftops for I don't know how many years. So I hope people have done that. And in cryptocurrencies are going to move even quicker when they start going to even precious metals because they're going to try to hold the metals down. But still, we're talking gold and silver. Okay. When this stuff gets exposed, okay, you have to read the Bible. Damages are sevenfold. Okay. So look at the price of silver, multiply it by 7, and that's a minimum price target silver's going to into next year.
Wow. Three figures.
That's minimum. Yes, 3 figure, easy 3 figures. And that's only damages. Remember, but first you have to pay back damages. And once you're done paying damages, you know what's next? If you've accepted Christ, if you're a follower of his, if you're doing his will, okay, God then provides blessings. Yep. Blessings are 30, 60, and 90 fold.
Wow.
Okay. Do the math as much as when you get a calculator, you won't believe the numbers. Whatever they are, just know that first comes damages, then comes blessings. So between now and into early, somewhere into before that time point, probably we have of April, we got blessings coming. Yes, we have damages coming. So they're paying damages. And after that, or we might even see blessings too. I don't know. So it's going to be exciting, but you need to be involved. So that's the whole point of what I do, is try to educate people on what's coming. Because what am I? I'm not a prophet. I'm a messenger who I believe God has appointed to listen to people, to understand how the markets work, and to speak out loud and profess the name of Christ, because Christ is coming back, not tomorrow just yet, but he's coming. Okay. And it's all tied. His cycle, his return is tied into the gold cycle. Okay. So when Christ returns, Trump is sounding the trumpet for the return of Christ. And that's how it's all laid out. This pattern's been, the cycle's been played out for thousands of years. Daniel initially wrote the cycle, he was given the cycle by God. And, we've got an incredible finish to this year. It's going to be wild. And then next year's 21 is going to be, 21 finishes what started this year. Does that make sense?
Yes,
because
it
we're
does.
talking that era of time, right? So 21 will finish what began in 20.
And 21 is when gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies get rocket fuel.
Correct. And that was from my prior videos as well, too, that if you listen to those.
That's
too.
right. If you have not seen that, go back and watch that from 3 weeks ago. Bo told you all of this stuff. And if you would have bought Bitcoin 3 weeks ago when he was on our show, you'd be up big right now. It's already doing great. But Bo, it hasn't even started yet, has it?
No. But it's going to shoot up. It's going to pull back one more time, and then it's going to rip. But yeah, it's still, but it started, it's going up. So I don't know. It depends how high it goes. And to see, when I have time points, I know it's going to shoot up. I don't know technically what price it's going to hit. I can guess, but I have a time point when it should top out. And then when it tops out, we'll know the price anyways, right? So when you have a time point, the price it hits. So that that's going to be the high-ish. So that should be about the high. And then it pulls back. So it depends on how high it goes, right? So if it keeps, is it going to break 20,000? Good, right? It potentially could take out 20,000 here, not too far away. It could. Again, I'm watching the time because I analyze time, not the price. I do give time points or prices, guesstimates within my reports, but those are less important because to me, the critical thing always is time. Time. That is the most important thing, and price is always secondary.
Well, I can't have Bo on the show and not ask what the big picture looks like. I know you don't do price targets, Bo, but it is Bitcoin. We have heard people talk about $100,000 Bitcoin. We've heard people talk about $1 million Bitcoin. For those people that don't know, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins ever in existence. I believe right now there's around 18 or 19 million existing. And we've got a lot more millionaires in the world than 21 million. And so if they all wanted to go get one, they couldn't go get one. So, Bo, big picture, if you're comfortable sharing, do you have a feeling, is this thing going to 100,000? Is it going to 1 million? What's it look like?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I hate doing prices because I have time points and I have the time points into next year and the year after. So I'm really excited because the patterns are playing out. So I know the highs, into next year. I don't know the price. I could run lines and guesstimates, but 50,000 is easy. Could it go to 100,000? Probably. $1 million. I don't know, because if it gets, for those kind of numbers, like $1 million Bitcoin, you have to remember there's all kinds of other alternate coins, right? So you got Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, all these other coins. So they're going to eat up a bunch of the money as well too. So I don't know that you're going to see those come like $1 million on Bitcoin. I don't really know. I don't care because I just know I know the direction. The direction. It's all that really matters is the direction and for how long it goes. So
that's right.
So yeah, it has a wonderful future. But I think there's coins that are far better than Bitcoin because Bitcoin is like it's been around the longest. It's like grandpa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can rely on it. He's smart, he's stable, he does great, but he's slow. and so that's the way to and it's like gold too, right? It does great, but it's not like if you want to have fire, excitement, you got silver and then some of the alternate coins, because they can double it. They can go to 100% move in a day sometimes, So that's what the excitement is. And the alternate coin season, that's coming here very shortly too. So that's about to start. So we got the power. And so alternate coin season's coming. And Bitcoin just kind of took the lead right now, but that doesn't mean anything in terms of the alternate coins. They're going to have their time as well too. So it's a lot of excitement coming, and it's fun to watch, because if you're involved in it, at least you can sleep good at night because you're involved. And when things do change drastically, you don't have to worry about, I should have, woulda, coulda.
That's right. So Bo, when you were on last time, you talked about the cycle for the market having a big down cycle until, I believe, June of next year. Is that correct?
Again, I don't watch the stock market that closely. Okay. So that was a cycle that is a cycle that I've laid out. I can tell you the stock market's in danger territory all the way in this next year into 2022. Could the stock market shoot up and to make new highs? Possibly. I don't watch it that closely because it doesn't really matter to me. It really, I'm so disinterested at this point in time in the stock market, because you have to remember, when this new era comes online next year, okay, the new era is not about the stock market, okay? It's about the new money system, gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies, okay? That'll be the new hype that everyone's talking about, because it's going to be the new financial system, and the stock market is going to be the old the dead dog. It's just, even if it's going up, it's going to be based on it's going. The dollar would have devaluated. So when you're selling the stock market into a devaluated dollar, you already lost money on that transaction. And then you're trying to go buy Bitcoin that's, $30,000, so the stock market, it's not interesting, because that was out of the old world. That's about to come to an end. So I don't see this paper system is directly related to the new financial system is not going to be based on, it'll be still, as much I don't know how it's going to play out, but I can tell you the new financial system is going to be based directly on something related to gold and silver and cryptocurrencies, and that of the stock market and the dollar are going to be disinteresting in the future, and starting next year.
Bo, when you say new financial system, none of us know, but are you talking the end of the Fed?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the dollar goes down and it drops sizably, right? The Fed will probably, I think the Fed's still going to be around. They've been around for a long. They're not going away. And actually, and then the other thing too, biblically, let's look at this from a biblical perspective, right? The wheat will rise with the tares. Okay, so what is the wheat? Well, that's God's church. That's those are the people that have accepted Christ and and basically preparing for the return of Christ. So that's the wheat. But the weeds, the tares, they're not going away. Okay, so they're going to continue to rise. So that's like the stock market and the dollar are all a part of the tares, and I'm not interested in that. It's not my interest anymore, because all I'm caring about now into the future is God's money and how it's patterning out into the future, because that directly relates to the kingdom come. And so I'm not interested in the world of the weeds, of the tares, but they will be rising together. Okay, so as the weeds rise, as Christ's church rises, both will continue to rise together, and this will continue to happen until the return of Christ. So I don't know that the Fed's going to go away. I just think that it probably become less important.
Yep. No, very good.
Or you'll have a choice.
Very good. Well, Bo, I told you before we started the show that I think most people out there their nerves are shot. I hear from people all the time, and I read the messages they send me, and they say they're stressed out. They can't take too much more of this roller coaster ride that we're seeing with President Trump. But I'm hearing you say, hang in there.
Well, what I would say? I would say to that, sorry to interrupt, but I would just say, turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Go enjoy your family. Get on your knees. Say a prayer for Trump, for Mr. Trump, for his family, and for your family. Relax.
Good advice.
God's in control. What is there to worry about when you're on the winning team? Really, what is there to worry about when you're on the winning team and you know how the story ends? Okay. Evil doesn't win. And right now, God's going to intervene. However that happens, and whatever date or time point that happens, it's irrelevant. So everything is noise right now. It's all noise. And all that's coming is the ushering in of God's kingdom. And in order for that to happen, the evil is going to be taken out, and it's going to be fun to watch. But the ones that are trying to steal, they lose. Everything changes. So don't worry. Stop worrying. Fear not, and have faith. Have faith in God, because He is in control of it all, and He's always been, especially now.
That's perfect. We have to leave it on that, Bo. No better way to wrap it up than that statement right there. Bo, thank you for being with us. If you want to learn more about Bo, go to his website, gold2020forecast.com. Bo, we'll have you back on in the future. We'd love to stay in touch with you and see what's coming next. We're going to watch November 13th. We're going to watch 2 weeks from then. We're going to look forward to the new world in April 2021. And we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. God bless you, your family, and all your listeners. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
Thanks, Bo. Thanks for tuning in with us. It's the Daily Truth Report. We'll catch you on the next one.